Sorry guys, just figuring something out. I got the setup here. So you really can't have it sideways, huh? That's crazy. Alright. Let's try this out then. Should have figured this out beforehand, but... I may have to use a computer from now on. Interesting. I don't really like the way this looks. Oh my god, show just wandering dock. Give me one moment. Maybe you can give me a suggestion. I'm trying to figure this out. There's a couple of things I want to talk about today. Let me try something. Let me ask you guys, can you guys hear me right now? I just plugged in my microphone. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. How does this look? So you're doing this live, unscripted. We'll do it live. Exactly. I want to have it pretty close to the normal setup, but I can't, unfortunately. That's crazy. When you live stream on the phone, you actually can't put it horizontal, which would make it look like the normal setup. I actually have to be portrait. Maybe I got to use the laptop. Maybe I'll do that next time. So we're kind of back to where we were last time. Okay. On the fly, we'll do it live. Next time, maybe I'll throw the iPad over there, have the same setup, and then maybe I could bring things up on the screen as well. I think I should be able to. But right now, I got the best phone quality possible looking at me. But then also, I'm on the Tesla iPad so that I can read the comments. So we got a nice little system going here. Let's see here. Pull it up on the screen. Boom, boom, boom. How is everybody doing? Let's see, am I in? Okay. Okay, they tell me I'm good. Hey, okay, so what do we got here? We got Shojas, awesome. Wandering Doc. Jordan's here, awesome. Biomar, Dela Cruz, very nice to have you here. Bridge 11, how's it going? Why is my already we got some questions coming in. Why is my TransUnion score in the 680s, but my other two scores are in the 620s? And Shoja says check all reports for inconsistency. So, yeah, I guess there are certain credit cards, if you're talking strictly credit cards, that will report to certain bureaus. So I'm assuming that maybe you have certain credit cards that aren't reporting to certain scores and some that are. Like, for example, if you're going with like American Express, typically they're pulling from Experian only, right? So that'll have a factor, as opposed to if you're going with Capital One cards, pulling from all three credit unions. So if you just have a lot of Capital One credit cards, all of your scores are probably down. If you have only American Express, maybe just one of them is. So something to definitely look at and check on your Credit Karma to see. Any inconsistencies or what kind of cards you actually have. Does this look normal, like this little setup right here? Well, my real hope was that maybe I can get on some sort of a tangent for you guys that are here right now, and then I could turn that into an actual video, just being as efficient as possible and edit it and stuff like that. But I don't think this will fly as a normal video since it's vertical. So we'll have to figure it out. Maybe it will. I don't know. But yeah, how's everybody doing today? Saturday morning. Wandering Doc asks, how can we get the national car rental highest elite status? Isn't there a way to get this through having a credit card? Huh. I almost feel like I saw that recently in my credit union video. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I almost feel like was it consumers credit? I don't know if it was consumers credit or if it was PenFed that gave you elite status for a car rental. I probably wrong, but interesting. You prefer National Car Rental? That's an actual brand? You're not in the whole Hertz or Enterprise Rent a Car scene? Because if you have like Amex Platinum, I believe was giving you, or even the Venture X card, right? Isn't that giving you President Circle for Hertz rental cars, giving you a lot more discounts and everything? Have you guys ever used Turo before? Turo car rental service, kind of like the Airbnb for cars. I've used them a good amount. I actually never used a rental car before, but I've always used Turo, and I always rented them whenever I went somewhere. So, but you don't get as many deals, as if, and there's no statuses with that, like a normal car rental. And typically, I've seen a lot of people have issues with insurances, like, I don't know, you crash the car, you have an issue. Sometimes they're not on your side. A lot of times I've seen for Turo, people have talked about people who are owners of their own cars and they put them on Turo, that the insurances just didn't cover the entire car, and or the claims just never went through, and I don't know. There's a big issue with Turo and insurances, and a lot of people don't want to put their car on there. Wandering Doc says, yeah, the Venture X and the Platinum give Hertz presidential status. Yeah, I figured. And apparently their highest status is a lot better than Hertz. You could choose better cards, and then they have a perk where every 2 to 5 stays you get a free rental night. Ah, interesting. So maybe every 2 to 5 days that you hold or that you're actually renting that car, you'll get an extra night with that car, you're saying? Um, that's pretty interesting if so. I like that. Pretty similar to like hotels, right? You stay 5 nights, you get or stay 4 nights, get the fifth one free with Hilton. Jordan asks, if you apply for a credit card and a hard pull gets put on your credit account, does getting approved increase your score rather than decrease it? Well, I guess there's a few factors, right? Like if you got approved via soft pull, well, you're not getting hit with the hard pull. So if you're someone that doesn't have too many cards, then it's going to stay a bit neutral. When you do get the new card, then I guess technically you have higher credit limit, which means your utilization should be down, and then thus raise your credit score, at least for the short term. So I would say a few things, which is really why I have a video coming out pretty soon talking about like why Amex is king, and I know a few guys will agree with me. And the reason is because after your first Amex card, pretty much every single one after that is all a soft pull. So I even would argue that a lot of Amex credit cards are good for beginners. Not the ones with high annual fees, but ones that you kind of just get started out with, because you know you're not going to be hurting your score as you're growing your portfolio of credit cards. So I don't know. That's just my small quick opinion. Show just says, I just researched Turo last night. Crazy you mentioned them. Yeah, I like Turo. Definitely as a consumer. I'm not sure of a user. I was actually going to put The Office on Turo just to see. I don't know. Just to see what it would do, but I don't think I could do that because, like you mentioned, it's a big question. How does the insurance work? From what I understand, they have a certain limit of insurances, like all companies. But it just seems like everybody I watch on YouTube that has a Turo rental car business, the claim is never in their favor. So someone scratches they curb the car, like the rims are all scratched up, or they, unfortunately crash the car. It seems like Turo is just never on your side, and they're like, no, that's just on you. Actually, I don't know fully how it works because I never went through it, but it's for that reason alone, I probably wouldn't put it on there. I probably wouldn't put it on Turo, but also people are making livings putting like a bunch of their beater cars on Turo. That was actually one of my goals when I came down to South Carolina. I was like, maybe I could get like 5 different $3,000 cars and rent them all out, but I don't know if it's the most feasible in my area, at least at this time. Got people behind me. Wandering Doc says, frequent Miller or Myler, I keep doing that, just did a podcast on it, and they basically said that National has the best elite status out of all of their car rentals, significantly better than any other one. That's good to know, for sure. He says, yes, every car rental you get a rental point or two, and normally it's 5 points and you get a free rental day. However, more than half the year or 2 of these points get you a free day. So, yeah, I do like that. I like the idea that you could just, I don't know, get something for free. If you're going to be staying somewhere anyway, like I would think most people getting a rental car, they're staying at least 5 days, whatever area they're in, because they're flying. You know, hard pressed to find some people that are doing that for like just a few days, unless it's like business trip. So that could be a huge benefit, for sure. I know that from experience too. Before I bought this car, I rented it twice on Turo just to see if it was all that it was cracked up to be. And we flew down to Florida and we stayed for a week, and I rented the car for the entire week, and that actually got me to push to actually buy it. So I would think a lot of people are staying. They definitely take advantage of that. I really wonder if nationally you're getting it with those credit unions, Consumers Credit or PenFed. That'd be a good thing I should look up. So that's why if I had the iPad right now, I would be able to research that and pull it up on the screen. But what can you do? Interesting. Let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anybody ever use Hertz? I know they're really trying to like switch over to mostly, well, they put in an order for 100,000 Tesla vehicles, and I think even they were planning on another 100,000 or maybe 50,000 because they really want to electrify their entire fleet. Um, and I look on there every now and again, and it seems like their rates are decent. Maybe, um, you know, something like a Tesla, like this car, the Tesla Model 3, I've seen in like the low 100s. Um, Even as little as like 80 or 90 per day if you have certain discounts and whatnot with the platinum card or the Venture X card, which is pretty good. When I originally rented this car a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, that was probably about $150 a day. It was too much. It was way too much. So half the price is pretty good. Wandering Doc says, "What area are you selling houses in? I'm doing a 1-month long tour, touring real estate and interviewing for diagnostic radiology jobs in April. Maybe I'll swing by your area. I'm at the point where I just buy rental properties since I love renting where I live, but I love buying income properties as well." Yeah, man. You already know. Anthony Venture, the realtor, will help you out. And I'm the only realtor out there that doesn't care about my commission. That's right. I don't care. I got a couple clients right now that we're going out to Anderson, South Carolina, Easley Pickens, areas like that. Um, some of them even closer to Columbia. And I'm just like, look, we were talking about it yesterday. Like, okay, I guess all real estate agents call it a buyer's market. Fine. Yeah, we all got to make money, right? But I've been telling these people, like, dude, if this house is 220K, let's just say 120K. I mean, because there's also a lot of other issues that come with that house, like flooding and mold and horrible outhouse dwellings that have to be bulldozed. But hey, it's an offer, right? And I've been doing this thing where, so to your question before I derail myself, selling houses pretty much all Greenville, South Carolina. I'll go anywhere though. I'll go down to Charleston if you want. That's no problem. I'll make the drive. Um, but mostly Greenville, Anderson, I guess closer to Columbia area, stuff like that. Um, but honestly, I would say if you're looking for income properties, I've been seeing a ton of under market deals because cosmetically they're messed up. They have, and let's just say some droppings of some animals in there, and paint's ripped up, and floors have got to be ripped up, and stuff like that. Um, but in Anderson, South Carolina, honestly, I've been seeing a lot of houses in the 100 to 150 range, and some of them have tenants already in place that are paying about 1,200 every single month, um, which are pretty good, you know, pretty good ROI on your investment there. Um, but I would definitely say probably around there. If you do swing by, let me know. and we'll tour around. I'll find some good properties for you, especially cheap, you know. And we have been seeing a little bit of a hit here in South Carolina. It looks like maybe not the whole of it, but for sure in this area, maybe 10% drop in a lot of home prices, and I think it's across the board. I've seen some people not drop them, but just not getting sold within a few months. So I think the writings on the wall will probably go down just a little bit in those areas, at least. I think Greenville will still stay level or even rise a little bit with population increases, but for sure, it's interesting. And he said, "Yeah, I rented from them in Jackson Hole, Wyoming." Well, the Jackson Hole Symposium, that's where the Federal Reserve meets all the time, huh? Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I had the President's Circle from the Venture X, and they basically said you choose whatever car you want, and I chose a little deep. So, yeah, Hertz is not bad. Hertz is not bad. Show just says, that's my next move. I want a duplex. Yeah. Me too. It's actually pretty hard to find duplexes or multifamily properties, at least where I'm at in South Carolina. I'm super surprised. Being from New York, a lot of houses, like a lot of them are multifamily, like two family houses. So it's interesting to see that. Um, but here I'm seeing just more. If you're really lucky, I'm seeing a lot of houses that same thing, a lot of cosmetic issues and like a lot of those problems. Under market deals. Hey, Sledge is in here. Let's go. The salute looks a little weird on the iPad on the Tesla. That's it looks like this. Yeah, so under market deals, but they have these outdwelling, additional dwelling units. They call them ADUs, where you could actually, um, possibly have a renter or an Airbnb. A lot of people do an Airbnbs around the schools here, like Clemson, huge school over here. Airbnbs for those outdwelling units and making some considerable income, maybe 600, 700 a month on a house that you're paying maybe 1,000 a month of mortgage. So not too bad. So you're in the suburbs of Columbia, South Carolina. I'm closer to Greenville, so about an hour away from the suburbs of Columbia, but I'm in Columbia a good amount too. There's a lot of, like, I don't know, they do like realtor conferences there, so I end up over there a bit. Um, Show just said my friend just bought a decent one for 270K. Which area? In South Carolina, 270K a duplex or elsewhere? Probably elsewhere, right? Hmm. Yeah. It's definitely. Oh, I took a look at a couple of passive syndication opportunities in Greenville. Some of my partners are buying large multifamily there. Yeah, I wonder if they're like downtown Greenville, because they are starting to build a little bit. Um, it's possible. I would like to see those, to be honest. I haven't seen everything yet, so I would love to see some multifamily there. I'm also noticing too, like, it's pretty wild because I'm not used to this, but I'll see certain areas, even on the outskirts of Greenville and Anderson, that they're like a single family house, and it comes with maybe 3 acres of land, and the house is like a, I don't know, a two-bedroom, two-bath, like something small, but they have like three additional trailers that are on the property that technically are like zoned for ADUs, so people can actually rent them out, and they have been. And they say like, oh, we have additional properties here that could be rented out. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. That I just don't see. I haven't seen that in my life until now. So pretty wild that you could get a lot of deals like that for sure. Wandering Doc says, that reminds me, I wanted to diversify and invest in North and South Carolina a little bit more. Hey, man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep shilling myself out. Oh, like I said, I'm the only one that doesn't care about compensation. So I, I've been dealing with some clients lately that have been trying to buy a house, and they're like, man, every realtor is trying to push me to a particular price range because they're thinking about their pockets. They're like, oh, I want a 150K house, but they're like, well, look at this 200K house. And I'm like, I get it from their point of view, but I'm in this position where I just want, I don't know, volume. I just want as many people, and I want to help as many people as possible. So I'm like, 150K house, okay, great, let's do 110. Let's offer 110 on that house, you know. And this way we just get the sheer volume because it's not only them, it's their kids, it's their friends, their family. So I don't care. Let's just get the deal done. Because that's what I would want to be doing. If I had a realtor, I want someone on my behalf looking at all the stuff like, oh, this this is this amount of money to fix. Okay, this is typical for here, stuff like that. So this way I know what I'm getting myself into. And okay, he's on my side. We're getting a good deal together. And I'm not worried about what sellers think or what the other agent thinks. I mean, just business. All right, we're all looking for a deal. So yeah, Wandering Dog, if you want to come down here, let's do it. In fact, I actually wanted to do this thing. I saw this other YouTuber. Oh, Show just says you seem like a good man. My experience with a realtor was terrible. Let me see what that. Let me hear if you want to type it out real quick. What your experience was with that realtor? I would love to hear. But I mean, I try to be. I don't know. I just think about the numbers and volume. That's it, and helping people so referrals in the future. So inherently helps both of us. But this other YouTuber called Javier Vidana, he does videos where he is, well, he's basically real estate completely. But he has this little side thing he does where he actually calls agents, because he is a realtor apparently, and he's like, okay, I'm with an aggressive buyer right now. Let me just see. I'm just gonna float a number by you. Tell me to go home, take a hike, whatever. And he'll, for maybe his looking in Arizona or something, it's like a 450K house. He's like, all right, so how does 375 sound? And if the realtor is good, if it's a good realtor, they're gonna say, I don't know about that. You might have to come up a bit. But if they're not a good realtor, not acting on behalf of their client, they're gonna be like, that might work. 20%, cut, or 15-20%, haircut on that price. And they're gonna say, yeah, that might work. Send an offer, and I'll work with my seller, which you should never do. But those are the agents out there. So if you're a person looking for a house, be with your realtor and make those calls. And you can even make those calls if you happen to know who the listing agent is. We just have the ability to find who the listing agent is, even through Zillow. So we could call them directly. And I actually did this recently. Like I just mentioned, the lowball deal in that 200K house, I literally did that. It was listed for 219,000, and it's a 3-bed, 2-bath out in Anderson. But a lot of issues. There's mold. There was passed away rat in there. There was a lot of issues. I was like, I'm just gonna float a number by you. Let me know what you think. I said about low 100s. So in my mind, like 110, 120. And he was like, yeah, just send it over. We may be able to work with that a little bit, maybe not, but I'm thinking so. I was like, okay, you're not telling me outright no. Another agent might just say, oh, heck no, I'm not doing that. And so I think it's a good thing. I actually wanted to start making some side YouTube videos along with the credit card stuff where I'm just asking agents like, hey, how does this number feel? And then boom, you're getting like, okay, 30K under market, 40K under market just by talking. Of course it's not under contract and whatever, but I just thought that was really interesting. Just to switch up gears for a second, BMR Dela Cruz says, if you get denied by Amex for a gold or platinum, how long should you wait before reapplying? Good question. Good question. So if you're denied for an Amex gold or platinum, one of the higher tier cards, how long should you wait for reapplying? Personally, depends what my score is, because I was always very conservative, and before I got my Amex Gold card, which was my first Amex card, I waited until my score was a little bit above 740, because I was like, all right, a lot of websites say 700, some say 720, so I was like, all right, let me get to like 740, just so I'm guaranteed to get approved for the Amex Gold card. So I did that, and I did get approved, but if I didn't, I would probably wait at least like a month first to see what it did to my credit score. Maybe it dropped at 30 points because it was your only inquiry, or maybe your second card ever. Who knows what your situation is, but maybe for some reason it drops a ton. Then I would want to see that effect first, and then go from there. If it did drop 40 points for whatever reason, okay, let me not reapply, and then I'll wait an extra 2 months, get to like 3 months ahead in the future, see if it rebounds, try to get back to that higher level, and then reapply. So I would say at least 3 months just to be safe. But hey, I mean, if you see nothing happens to your score, or even if you come up a little bit, you could always retry. Technically there's no harm in that. I mean, you're having more inquiries, so more likely to hurt your credit score for the short term, but it'll always bounce back within just a few months. So not a huge deal, Wandering Doc says, when I was choosing where to get stationed after Alaska, Columbia, South Carolina came up, and as an up and coming place, low cost of living, great place to raise a family. Thoughts? To be honest, if I'm being really honest with Colombia, anytime I was down there, I didn't feel at home. I feel at home in Greenville and surrounding areas. Even a little bit of Anderson, but people mention is like it's a little bit more crime ridden. So no problem by BMR. Thanks for asking the question. Uh, yeah, so I didn't really feel at home in Colombia. It felt more. It just felt a little more unsafe. I'll put it that way. And of course, not everywhere, but I was mostly downtown. I'm sure in some of the surrounding areas down there, you'd be okay. But if you come up a little bit, like come maybe half, maybe not even halfway, but just a couple miles upwards to like the Greenwood area, or even if you get towards like Ware Shoals, which is like halfway between Greenville and Columbia, very quiet area, and I would say much better place to raise some kids. Just from what I saw when I was driving down there and meeting some people, it just seemed a lot more comfortable and safe there. But as you get more and more northern towards Greenville, I would say it's more and more homely, more and more a better place to live. Um, for sure. You know, if you're looking for that, I would just go on the outskirts. So like the Greenville, Pickens, Anderson, um, Ware Shoals, Greenwood, you know, in that vicinity. Even Simpsonville, which is pretty much where I am now. Simpsonville is like the safest area, I would say. So, if you're looking for like a house in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, maybe even four, Simpsonville is a good spot for sure. Safest area I've been to so far. Show just says, coming back in with that story from that realtor, that horrible realtor that Show just had. Let's see. It was my very first home purchase, and she was a childhood friend. Oh, see that? Can't trust your friends with your business, I guess. I trusted her, and yeah, I trusted her, and let's just say she wanted to make a sale. Exactly what I was talking about. I had her pick an inspector for me because I knew nothing. Long story short, I ended up having her replace a lot of things that a decent inspector would have found. She just wanted the sale. And it happens. And it's maybe... Oh, we got bees coming at me. Get out of here, bees. I'm gonna be like Chris Farley and Tommy Boy screaming, bees! Bees! And running around. Let me open up that window. Um, yeah, so it's a real thing with realtors. I mean, it's possible she is new as well. And she's like, okay, let me just find an inspector. Maybe, you know, I don't know an inspector yet. Let me just find one. Or not thinking necessarily in behalf of you, like, let me get you the best deal possible. Just like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Let me just get something done, you know, so he has a home to live in. So maybe defense, I don't know. Who knows? 2 weeks into my new home purchase, my windows were leaking. I found that I needed all new windows. Oh my God. The windows, people underestimate the windows. Some of these windows, especially in the last year with commodity prices rising, some of these windows are like $150 each, even like 200 each, especially if you're going dual pane, forget it. But for like energy conservation, all that conservation, $150 per window, you know, that particular house that I saw recently had like maybe 8 on the out. It was about maybe 15 windows. I mean, you're talking, what's 15 times 15? I mean, I mean, 15 times 150. I mean, that's 5 grand. Yeah, 2,200. It's a lot of money for sure. And you didn't know that because the realtor didn't, you know, didn't think to do it, or just didn't care to help you out, especially as a childhood friend. Who knows? But that's where I would come in differently because I'm super detailed. Um, and I think of it as myself, like, I'm looking for a deal. If I wanted a rental property right now, what am I looking at right now? So I'm looking at the floors to make sure it's all level. You know, if, a lot of these older homes in the 50s, you know, what they call them is like 24 wide. So like the planks underneath or the beams to hold the house up are 2 feet across, as opposed to recent houses, I guess, is maybe half that. So you have a lot more footing that comes down and bending in the house as the soil moves. So I'm looking at those things. I'm like, okay, let's see. Is this foundational? Where are the cracks in the foundation? Do we have like horizontal cracks, which we don't want to see, stair step cracks? You know, a lot of little things that maybe you might not realize. Some water damage in the crawl space, you know, a lot of different things. So that's where a good realtor really comes in, is we have the eye where you're kind of blinded because the house looks nice, you know? So at least that's what I've been trying to do. And I don't even have like amazing experience yet, but I care enough to research it all heavily. Um, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in Michigan, too. So every place I'm like, no, it's not safe. I don't want to be there. Uh, Matthew Kim coming in hot, saying, does having a high credit limit affect your odds of getting a house? I.e., if you make 100K, but you have like 150K in credit limits. That's actually a really good question. I feel like Wandering Doc probably has some insight to that. But, it's funny. I really don't think there's any bearing at all. Maybe I'm wrong. But you would think like, oh, like imagine a world where you're buying a house for 150K and you have a credit limit of 150K. I mean, it doesn't help you on any loan application because it's not like, oh, these are my assets. Like that's if you were to take 150K in credit card debt, I mean, it's all debt, right? So then you wouldn't qualify for any house. So you would think like a high credit limit may in fact actually help because it's like, oh, they have some cushion, but from what I think, it won't help on any loan application buying a house at all. But what will help is having a 150K limit and, using only a few grand, whatever. So your utilization is very low and then credit score goes up. So that'll help you buy a house. But I don't think inherently the credit limit will help you buy a house. Unless you're crazy and you're taking credit advances for the down payment, which I don't do that. Absolutely not. And so just says there's plenty of other things, but the list is too long. Wandering Doc says, that's good to know, man. Going to start looking for jobs in the Greenville area. Yeah. Why don't you just be a realtor? And this way you don't even need me. You could just negotiate on your own behalf and you don't have to pay any realtor fees. Why don't you just do that? I'll help you get licensed. That's really not that bad here. A little bit. I mean, the test was hard, but it might be worth it. But yeah, Greenville's booming. Like I said, population's coming in still. Population's still rising, so I think house prices will be basically neutral. But that also means with high interest rates, if a lot of the people that are selling right now, or at least here, are desperate for cash, maybe they want money or they want to move elsewhere with population increases. So, so yeah, if you're a buyer right now, you can get those on the market deals still, like because the interest rates are so high, nobody's buying as much, so they're lucky to get one offer. So let's just go 20% under asking. Why not? Wow! Oh my God! Show just $8,500 for new windows, and that was a better quote. That was the better quote of 5 different companies. Whoo! Could you imagine? Almost $10,000, $8,500. Oh man, oh God, $8,500 for new windows, and you put a down payment in, and you probably didn't get a great deal on the first house with whatever. Oh God. Well, now you're sitting pretty because I don't know when you bought your first house, but you probably sit on equity now. But oh man, just to be a new homeowner and just have all of those issues like leaks and fixing windows, my God. I feel for you. That's horrible. And he says, I don't want to be in Michigan either. Daughter lives here and she graduates from high school, so this is where I'll be for now. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. We're all like-minded. I like it. We all care about we all care about the same stuff. So on the market deals and crime and being in a better state. It's funny. Wandering Doc says, I'm not sure. I bought most of my rental properties when I had one personal and one business card that I never used. So you could see it's just a small part of getting a home. I got one in 2020 when I had a very good score and there was no difference. They look at your job income and your debt to income. Those are the most important factors. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. As long as your income is high, debt to income ratio, the standard 33%, sometimes even a little higher. Yeah. And credit cards play such a small part. Also remembering that having multiple mortgages is very good for your credit with on-time payments. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I forgot when I did the video. It was like how to boost your credit score, and it's really going into all the different factors. But one of them is like the types of credit that you have. Just having credit card debt is one type of credit, but having mortgages is going to raise a different type, your FICO 8 score, right? So, and having car loans and maybe personal loans you've had in the future, or even student loans, like all different types of loans. So The banks see that and they're like, okay, all different loan amounts, all different interest rates, all different time limits. This guy is weathered, or this woman is weathered, and they know everything about, debt and whatnot. So subsequently, you look like a better risk to all of the banks, for sure. So I think that's a super important thing. Absolutely. I think honestly, like I've been thinking about this recently, which is why I kind of titled "How Credit Cards Can Help You Buy a House." Of course, we know the basic, credit scores are up and stuff like that. That we know that having credit cards is good. But what I've been thinking recently is I've been thinking more of Amex minded. So what I mean by that is, who's around me? Anybody trying to attack me? All right. What I mean by that is when you have an Amex credit card, let's just talk about the Charles Schwab. I love talking about the Charles Schwab card. You could take all of your Amex points. We know the deal, right? Take all of your Amex points, cash them out into your Charles Schwab brokerage account at a 1.1 cent per value ratio. So 100,000 points is $1,100 in cash that you can pull out into, as good as cold hard cash. You could have it in physically, get it out of an ATM. So my thought was like, man, if you could just churn for 2 years, right? Do what I did. Okay, what did I do? I got the Amex Gold, then I got the Amex Green, got the Platinum. Did get some referrals from some friends that used it. And if you decide to get maybe the Business Plus credit card. So I don't know, all of those, if you get like high sign up bonus offers, you could technically get all 4 of those cards and get upwards to what, like 250,000 points, something like that, right? Maybe even if you're lucky, maybe 3,000. Oh, plus just a standard Amex Platinum card. Maybe you want to get that one too. Of course, the annual fees are expensive, but just stay with me. So maybe on top of that, so 2 Platinums, a Gold, a Green, and maybe the Business Plus. Maybe you're coming in with like 350K points. Let's call it that. Maybe let's call it 300,000 points. In just a couple of years, even, probably a couple of years to be conservative, you can cash it out at a 1.1 cent per value ratio, right? So that's $3,300 you could just cash out as, cold hard cash. So if I'm like a new home buyer, especially some areas in here that are $100,000 houses, if you're a first-time home buyer with an FHA loan, or even sometimes conventional can get down as low as 3%. 3% on a 100K house is $3,000. So you're telling me that all I have to do is churn those credit cards, those Amex cards, of course, pay the annual fee, right? But we could get retention offers and stuff like that to reduce it, and maybe after a year we cancel some of them. And we hand those credit cards to family members, or maybe we're prepaying for things in the future to hit those sign-up bonuses. But usually you have about 6 months, so it's very doable. Or pay your taxes, which is what I like to do. You could technically churn for 2 years, get all the credit card points, cash them out with the Charles Schwab, and use that as a down payment for your house. Like, that's insane to me. That's insane that I didn't even have to really work necessarily, $15 an hour for 200 hours or something to earn $3,000, and then after taxes, right? So even a little bit more time. So like, why not do that? Why not do this? Especially if you have a whole family that doesn't care about cards. Most of the time, your family doesn't know anything about credit cards. So hand it to them. They'll Venmo you back. Make all this money, and you have a down payment for a whole house. Never even pulling into your own cash reserves, and then you use that money for repairs, and now you're sitting pretty. I might even think about doing that, but I don't know. It might make more Maybe it might make more sense to just use those points for travel. Biomar says, how does tax work when redeeming points for cash back, or does it not count? So, as far as I'm aware, in that specific scenario with the Charles Schwab, if you cash it out at 1.1 cents, it's not taxed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's not taxed at all. Which is good, which is like also along with something we talked about last week where someone mentioned, might have been Shojas, that you could actually take all of those $3,000, cash it into a Roth IRA with your Charles Schwab brokerage account, no taxes on the cash out, and you could put it into a tax advantage Roth IRA, and it doesn't even count towards the contribution because we know the yearly contribution for a Roth IRA is $6,000. So we were talking about in December. So we were like, oh, if we did nothing the whole year, we could put $6K in the Roth IRA now in December of our own money, and then maybe we have 500,000 Amex points. Let's cash that out for another 6 grand. Put that in the Roth IRA. So now we're at 12 grand. And then a week later, it turns to January, a new calendar year, and we could put another 6,000 in the Roth IRA. So in the span of a week, you could have $18,000 funded in your Roth IRA that can now grow tax-free until you're 59 and a half. I thought that was really amazing. You can see I'm still excited about it. Show just said the installer for my Windows was telling me how the Windows I was having installed were more than half the cost just 12 months before I had them installed. So inflation is real. Let me read that again. The installers for my Windows were telling me that the Windows that I was having installed were more than half the cost just 12 months ago. I had them installed. So inflation is real. Wow. But why would they even tell you that? Could you imagine? Could you imagine just like, you know, just talking to the guy installing all of your Windows. He's like, "Yeah, man, you got a bad deal on this. Yeah, man, you should have done this 6 months ago. You saved half the money." I'd be like, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, appreciate it." You know, that reminds me of like one time I crashed my old car. I had a 2000 Mustang, and it was like a few grand car, and I crashed it because I hit a pothole really hard in New York, of course, and they don't fix any potholes there, and the whole wheel like fell off, like horrible, and it was on a narrow road with just weeds next to us, like literally the most barren road, and there was like 10,000 people flying past, and we had to block the whole road, and then the tow truck driver came after like an hour, and he was like the stereotypical tow truck driver, like, you know, just I don't know, he's just walking up like, "How you doing? How's it going?" And I remember he looked to me and my fiance, and one of the first things he said was like, "Yeah, man, like a lot of people died on this road. Yeah, I seen a lot of people crash and they die." I was like, "Thanks. That's the best thing I've heard all night. It wasn't that the car broke, wasn't that the tire fell off, and now that we're here, it's that you told me that most people like unalive here because of how bad the accidents are." I was like, "Thanks. You're great." Wonder Duck says, "Of course it's not a taxable event, and you can keep transferring the same Roth IRA." Yeah, it's a good point. For sure. Yeah, just keep contributing. And he says, "Yes, I've done this twice with a brokerage bank account bonuses. Citibank and Schwab put 500 into my Roth IRA for getting the bank account bonus for transferring to them. So you can even double dip. So you can technically, yeah, you can kind of sign up for these sign up bonuses for banks, and they'll sometimes it's deposit bonus or direct deposit bonus, and they'll give you money towards that. That's pretty cool." Man, I wonder what the limit is. Like, obviously, a yearly limit normally is $6,000, but I wonder if someone could like really, really go crazy. Like, if you have like a million Amex points, just put like 10 grand in there, or not even 10 grand. Like, put what would that be actually? That'd be a lot of money. Yeah, but imagine putting like 100 grand in your Roth in the first year. People are like, whoa, that's funny. Show just says, yeah, I think he wasn't thinking about his company's image when they were discussing certain things. Yeah, that's funny. Dudes like that out there, they just don't think. I don't know. They just don't think about who they're talking to. They just think they're talking to anybody. That's funny. How can I see what time is it right now? No idea what time it is. Wait a second. I have a third phone. 12:44. Good to know. All right. Yeah, but I've been really interested in real estate lately, for sure. Like a lot of you guys seem to be as well. So I've been thinking about ways to kind of merge the two concepts, like credit cards and, buying a house and stuff like that. Because obviously the credit score stuff, but like I mentioned earlier, cashing out, using that for your down payment, how to get like a free down payment, like that would be cool. Like how to get a free down payment with credit cards. I feel like that might be a nice YouTube video, something to think about. And then those other videos I want to make on lowballing realtors in the area, so people can see like, yeah, you can get much better deals if you just talk a little bit. That's funny. Another thing too, which I did bring up last time, I don't know if everyone here. Oh, Alana Zandru is here again. I think that's just how I say it now. So, Alana, Alolan Zandru, just and Shrew. like a shrew, like one of those. Those are like I don't even know, almost pheasant looking, right? Um, Nice to have you here. Not to compare you to a pheasant, but nice to have you here. Um, One thing I mentioned last time, but I don't think everybody was here, was oh, okay, so that's what I thought. Okay, the Pokemon Sandshrew. Okay, I didn't want to be a weirdo. Okay, so Sandshrew, Sandshrew the Pokemon. Cool. All right, I like Sandshrew. I like Sandshrew a lot. Um, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, one thing I mentioned last time was having how the Amex Green Card can kind of technically change how you decide on what you're going to do in life. You know, if you're a person renting, um, not so much if you're a person buying a house, but specifically renting. Um, I think there's a real case for that. You can literally use your Amex Green Card and get way more value by using that for Airbnbs and actually have a whole cheaper life experience living out of Airbnbs full time as opposed to renting an apartment. I think it's revolutionary. I don't. Maybe it's just me because I went through the numbers, but I think you can save so much money. I mean, the fact that you can get three x points per dollar spent with the Amex Green Card for um, for all transit travel stuff like that, but Airbnbs are included. So my example was $2,000 every single month renting versus 2,000 every single month Airbnbing. So if it's 2,000 Airbnbing at the end of the year, that's $24,000 times 3x points. It's about 75,000 Amex points, and at face value, if you use it for travel, that's $750 back, right? But if you're getting like 2x points per dollar spent, you're getting um, you get an extra maybe $1,500 if you're getting 2 cents per dollar, um, spent and all that. So free money as opposed to just using a normal card for rent, and that's 224,000 points, right? For one cent per dollar spent. But you get 3x the amount of value. But on top of that, you're getting all the other benefits of being in an Airbnb, like not paying for furniture and uh, you know, um, having the ability to move, different places from time to time. All of the cutlery, all of the paper towels, all of the chairs, the beds, like everything is fully furnished. And, depending on which Airbnb you're in, typically they're in sometimes nicer areas. So you don't have to fight other people to get in there. It's like, okay, let me just stay here for a month and then maybe I can move on or not, depends if you want. And you could usually get discounts for month stays if you go through Airbnb. I even know some people that worked with the owners of Airbnbs after they stayed for a month or so, and they were like, can I just rent here long term for the same price or even under price? And they're like, yeah, you're a good person, you'll be a good tenant, let's just do it. So it's possible. Sandshrew says, Sandshrew says, Amex Green would be great for someone like me because I travel so much for work, but I have to book through a special portal rather than directly through the airline/hotel. Um, Well, for the Amex Green, the transit category would be, I guess like ride sharing, trains, stuff like that. But I believe, wait, do they have a travel category? They do, right? Or am I thinking just the platinum? Because I believe with the Amex cards, you can actually book direct through the airline and still get the points. Um, Not with the hotel though. So that would have to be through the Amex portal, which, yeah, sometimes it's a little more expensive, but I mean, you kind of use the points for that. Um, but I believe you could book directly through the airline and still get your points. I know you definitely can with the platinum. I'm just not sure with the green. Okay, so it does have a general travel code. Yes, I'm pretty sure. I would read it. Read it again. See if it says through the Amex portal or through the airline, if you're choosing. I'm pretty sure you can. And Bymar says, good transfer partners too. What do you guys think? What is the best? I've been really wanting to think about this. What's the best transfer partner for American Express? You know, what what's the best travel partner? Like maybe for hotels or even maybe for flights. Like, I know, um, I know Rob. Rob, whenever he's in here, he always talks about British Airways. I think that's a partner, right? So taking your Amex points to British Airways Avios points, and he gets a lot of value from that booking first class tickets. But what about hotels? Because you guys saw recently, I was talking about Hyatt hotels with Chase points, Chase Hilton reward points. So you can technically take 100,000 Chase points, transfer to Hyatt for at a 1-to-1 ratio. So now you have 100K Hyatt points. And a lot of Hyatt's hotels I found, especially if you looked at my last video, I saw like minimum 2 cents per point, but a lot of them were like 3 to 5 cents per point. And then if you go overseas, I saw like 20 cents per point, but that's just overinflated, I think. But I mean, I stayed in one recently in Raleigh, North Carolina. That was 5 cents per point. So I spent 6,500 points and I got a hotel that was over $300. Like, that's insane value. So 100K Chase points is actually like, could be worth $5,000 worth of hotel stays. You know, it's like massive. But I just can't find that with American Express. I want to find something like hotels that give me a lot more value, but I just haven't. Andrew says, Platinum to travel must be directly. Well, it has both, right? It has the, I think it has the Amex travel portal. You get 5 points per dollar spent on flights, and then directly through the airline itself. If you pay in full with the Platinum, then it's 5x points. I'm pretty sure. I thought I just read that. He says, yes, you're right. Okay, so yeah, so you can do both. Okay, cool. Bymar came in a little bit earlier when we were talking about rents and stuff like that. He says the Bilt MasterCard really holds it down for my rent. Yeah. Yeah, the Bilt card has been getting a lot more excitement lately. A lot of people talking about it, especially if you looked at the video done by John Liang recently. He did a pretty good Bilt video. I didn't watch it, but I know he got like 100,000 views or something pretty crazy. But my good friend Calby and G, you guys probably know him. He's the guy with the cat picture. He did a video on Bilt, the Bilt MasterCard, and did very well. And he used it, and he actually had an issue with them where he got like 100,000 points in referral bonuses because his video did so well and they just launched. And they actually all thought that he was botting. They thought that he was botting all of those and they were just fake referrals, and they took all of his points away. I was like, oh my God. It was like probably a few $1,000s worth of referrals, I think. I forgot what he mentioned. It might have been more. It might have even been double that. But he mentioned how good it was, and then they took the points away because they said you're botting, and then they couldn't prove it, and he couldn't prove it that was botting either. But I mean, the views show alone. I mean, he got like what 10,000 views on that. That's crazy. And then he put out a video afterwards, like, "Oh, they stole my points," so that was a good response. Sandra says another really good travel card is the Navy Federal Flagship. Yeah, shout out to Sledge, who really wants that card this year. With 3x category in all travel, general, including transit, and 2x on everything else. Yeah, it's very true. Very, very true. Honestly, it's a good card. Especially everybody loves that card because of the credit limits. Like if you look on YouTube, people making videos on it. Everyone's like, "Oh, how I got 80,000, credit limit with this card. How to get high limits with the Navy Federal card." People love it. Oh, you just got it yesterday, Sancho. What was the limit? I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say it's. If you were stunned by it, I'm gonna say it was 35,000. I bet it's 35,000. That's my guess. But yeah, people love it for that. But then oh, not that high. All right, so. But I think it's good. I mean, you get the 3x category on all travel. So wait, that's all travel. So you don't have to book through any travel portals or anything like that. You could just if I just go book a Hyatt hotel with my flagship, will I get 3x points? Or if I just go book a JetBlue flight, will I get it? All travel, really? Wow, that's pretty impressive, huh? Pretty impressive. That's another video I wanted to do. I wanted to do a live call on joining the Navy Federal Credit Union because a lot of people talk about it, but nobody actually ever does it like on camera. They're like, well, you just tell people that you're in active military, related to, or have had someone in your family at some point that was active military. So good, a good amount of people qualify. A lot of us had parents or grandparents in the military. But no one ever like actually makes the call like that. I want to do that. I want to say like, this is this and blur out some information, but this way you have like a step-by-step on how to join. So I think I might do that soon. It's 20K limit. It's pretty good. Nice. But Bymar says the point stacking is crazy on the Bilt, especially on the first of the month. Yeah, that's a thing, right? I don't track it very closely, but I think I forget. maybe it was Joshua Butler. He put out a community post saying it like doubles for rent, right? Did I see something like 6 points per dollar spent on rent? Was that what it was? But then, if that's true, what are the points actually worth with Bilt? I know that's true, because Bilt, you could actually is one of the only is actually the only other person other than Chase can transfer those points to Hyatt. That's a good point. That I'm realizing this with you. If you're spending 2,000 a month on rent, so you're getting 24,000. So if you're paying so if it is 6 points per dollar spent, I don't know if I'm right about that, but what would that math work out to be? So 5 times, let's say it's 2,500. Let's say it's $2,000 a month, so that would be 10,000 points with 5 points per dollar spent. So 120,000 points. You transfer that to Hyatt at 5 cents per point. That's like another $6,000. $6,000. Is this? Come on, someone correct me. Is it 6 points per dollar spent on all rent? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Are you telling me that I could stay in rent somewhere for $2,000 a month, and at the end of the year get enough points to stay in a Hyatt for 3 months? So why wouldn't I just, if you have a particular hotel? But here's the thing. Here's an idea. Why not just rent 1 year, right? Okay, I finished my year. I got my points, and then for the next 3 months, I'm just gonna live out of this hotel. I'm just gonna live out of the Hyatt Hotel in Raleigh. That's 5 cents per dollar point. 6x dining, 4x travel, 2x everything on the first except for rent. But what's the rent multiplier? Is the rent just 2x? That's what I need to know, because I haven't looked into it. But still, 6x dining is great. That's actually a beast card. Man, I feel like I should get that card now. 6x dining. Because I love Hyatt now because of the points value bonuses. So it's like, if it's 6x dining, in my mind immediately it's like, oh, 30 points per dollar spent, because it's 5x, right, for Hyatt. Oh, okay, so 1 times on rent up to 4K a month. All right, so hold on, we got to do the numbers again. So if it's 1 point per dollar spent on all rent, then that's 24,000 points times 5, so 25. Okay, so about $1,250 every single year. So you'll be able to stay at a Hyatt maybe a week if you're lucky, something like that. Damn. I was getting too excited. So maybe wait, is that true? Wait, $1,250? Well, if it was those points, no, I could have stayed for 20. Yeah, so about a month, I bet. I bet I could squeeze it out with all the points you make on Bilt. Especially if you use it for those groceries and stuff, you could easily stay an extra month. So every single year, which is, it's not bad. That's pretty good. A free month of hotels for just using a card that most people aren't paying with their rent anyway. Which is why maybe I have to redo my math, but you guys know I love the YOTTA credit card. The YOTTA, matter of fact, let me pull it out. Oh, that's the Kohl's card and the Tesla card. Put that over there. This is the YOTTA credit card. We know we love the YOTTA credit card. And the reason I bring that up is because people can put the rent on the YOTTA credit card. You could put the rent on this. So my thought was like, okay, you have a 1 to maybe 2% chance of getting the item you just swiped for completely for free, right? But if you're spending $2K a month on rent, that's 24,000 a year. How long would it take you to break even for getting something for free? Like we just mentioned. Like if you just mentioned a normal credit card, like we're using the platinum for our rent, I don't know, for some reason, and we're getting 1 point per dollar spent, so it's 24,000 points a year. Call it 1 cent per point, so that's $240. Maybe call it 2 cents, so we'll call $500 in value every year for using a normal credit card. But if I use the YOTTA credit card, as long as I would say if it's a 2K rent, that would mean that it would take me 4 years to recoup it, right? So if I'm getting $500 a year for the platinum card, that's $2,000 over 4 years. But if I use the YOTTA credit card, as long as I get one rent for free once every 4 years, so you have 48 chances to get something for free, which I guess your odds are not necessarily in your favor. But as long as you get it once for free, anytime 4 years and beyond, or before, you're either making money or you're breaking even. Anything beyond that, then you're no good. But I think that, you know, that could be interesting. But especially, but not only that, but if you're also using this for, um, as just kind of like your savings account, because you're getting points. I mean, you're getting tickets in the daily raffle. They changed it to daily instead of weekly, based on the amount of money you have in there. And I think it's like one ticket per $100 or so. No, per $10. So yeah, one ticket per $10. So if you have 10 grand, it's 100 tickets every single day that you could possibly win up to like $10 million. So I guess you could be making money all along the way if you're using it as a savings account as well. So I don't know. I don't know what would make sense. I still think the Bilt probably would win if you're going to use it for Hyatt and transfer partners. I think probably Bilt wins. I'm gonna have to look into this, man. I might have to apply. It's pretty good. Show just says, I think the good thing about Bilt is that they cover the surcharges for paying with a credit card. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Interesting. Oh, and yeah, they cover my apartment's portal charge. Interesting. Wow. So this is really killing it, huh? But I also heard Bilt was aren't they run by Wells Fargo or owned by them? A lot of people don't have good experiences with Wells Fargo. So that's I don't know. I don't know how that impacts anything. Wandering Doc says, favorite Hyatt that you've stayed at? Okay, so I'm full disclaimer, I'm a novice in the Hyatt world. Okay, Calby, NG, he was the one that like forced me to go to Hyatt because I was like, Hilton forever. Um, I was like Hilton forever. I love it. I love the hotels, and I've always had a good experience with them, and I love the credit cards. So, um, so that the Hyatt I just stayed in recently in Raleigh, North Carolina was the first Hyatt I stayed in. But I did a ton of research in like Nashville and in California, in Austin and in Orlando, even in Maine, and then abroad like in Shanghai, China, and Italy, like Venice. I think Venice. And I saw like a lot of good multipliers, but so far that's the only one I've stayed in. The Raleigh at North Hills, um, in North Carolina, and I really liked it. I will say though, it wasn't as I don't want to be like, because I've stayed in like the junkiest of places, so I'm not trying to be elitist here, but yeah, comparing to Hilton, it was not as friendly comparatively, still friendly, but not as friendly. Wasn't in the hotel room itself wasn't as clean, but they did have way more amenities. So if you're a person that cares about that, then sure. I just don't, for the most part. Um, but my whole thing with Hyatt was they're giving you such good, redeemable bonuses. But you walk into a Hyatt room, and you have everything. Like it's like an apartment. Like literally pots and pans behind me, a dishwasher, a stove, like a microwave. Everything you could think of in a regular house is in a Hyatt. And they have like swivel TVs and extra seating areas and a million plugs. I'm like, how are they making money on these hotels? Like Hilton gets by if you've ever been to like a Home 2. Like that's like the living place, and it's so minimalistic. It's not even funny. It's like a Tesla of hotels. So it's like, how are they making margins on Hyatt? I would love to look at the balance sheet of Hyatt hotels because I just don't see how they're making money, especially with these points redemptions. Like I get it. They're technically they don't have as many hotels as Hilton, and maybe some of their costs are overinflated, but with all the little tiny minute things like pool tables in that Hyatt and just free breakfast, like a lot of different things in that hotel, I'm like, how are you making money? It's like too much overhead. I don't know. Um, But that's my rant for the day. Uh, Leiloni says, my leasing company charges an extra 2.75% if you pay with a credit card. See, that's where the Bilt card really comes in handy. I mean, you're not paying that extra 2%. I mean, 2%, it's a good amount of money. If you think about it, you know, 2% on 2 grand every single month. I mean, what is that, $40? So, $40 adds up at the end of the year, an extra $500 in your pocket. I mean, that's groceries for a year or two. I mean, a month or two, a year or two if it's me, just me. But yeah, like a month or two, depending on your household. Like that's saving a lot of money. And people just throw caution to the wind. They'll forego that $500 a year for whatever reason. Wandering Doc says the problem with Bilt is the lack of sign-up bonus. While I had to cover one half of my sign-up bonuses in 2022 with rent payments, this generated over 1.25 million points. Wait, you're saying, whoa, you're saying you generated 1.25 million Bilt points from using the Bilt card? No way. Really? Over a million Bilt points in a year? Tell me it ain't so, because then forget it. My math's gonna go crazy. Uh, Sandra says they basically write a check to the leasing company on your behalf and cover the card surcharge. Yeah, that's great. I love to hear that. That's cool. That's really good to know. It's too bad, like, you can't use it for Airbnb and they pay the cleaning fee. It's like $300. Yeah, we got it. Bilt got you covered. Had I put all of the rent on the Bilt card, that would have generated a measly 30k Bilt points. Oh. So wait, what? You're saying so maybe you got new credit cards for 2022, put all of your rent on them, and you generated 1.25 million points across all of your credit cards. That's awesome. Wow. And the lack of sign-up bonus with Bilt, if your rent is in a high cost of living area and you put all your rent on the card, after 3 years, you'll have one business class flight. Yeah. Yeah, they should really up that. I mean, come on, if it's branded as like, oh, pay your rent. I mean, I get it. You have to add in the $500 plus a year for the surcharges and stuff for those kind of situations, but I would say at least 2 cents. Or 2 points per dollar spent. Like, come on, man. I get it, you don't want to give that much value out, but man, Bilt would explode. Like, all of us would keep making more videos. Like, come on. We'd be blowing it up right now. Biomar says, I don't know about that math. 3 years, lol. I mean, if that math is right, he's saying 30k points from all that rent in a year. But Wandering Doc also has. Oh, he's talking about his own rent. I was wondering. Oh yeah, so 30k a year. In 3 years, 90,000 points. But I don't know what the transfer partners are. It's like could be $900, could be $1,800. Depends what the business class flight is worth. Might be way more than that. I don't know. Something to argue about, right? That's funny. What else is going on? So we're talking points, talking about maximizing rent payments, talking about how to get a free down payment with credit cards, and talking about getting under market deals with real estate. Anything else going on? What else is happening in the world right now? And do you like this kind of setup here? It's just kind of me talking off the top of my head. I mean, luckily I have some memories of all the different cards and stuff and real estate, so it kind of helps. But I know a lot of YouTubers, when they live stream, they'll put something on the screen, so I don't know if that would be more interesting. But I do all the timestamps, so at least it's organized. I'll have that done later today. But yeah. Interesting. Credit cards. Wonder. I don't know which cards I'm gonna get this year. Some people ask. I'm like, I'm thinking maybe the Chase Inc. Preferred, because don't they still have a sign up bonus of 100k Chase points? Now I'm just a fiend. I'm like, I want all the Hyatt points I can get, because I just want to stay for free everywhere. Wandering Doc says, yeah, I opened about 10 credit cards in 2022, and for roughly half or so of the spend, I put my rent on it. So this generated well over a million points. Wow. That's crazy. So minimum, like $10,000 worth of travel, but probably way more than that too. Man, that's great. That's a goal. I don't know if I'll ever hit a million points. It really depends. I'm sitting at. I'm guessing. Now, I shouldn't be telling you guys this, but I'm guessing after like some retention offers with American Express, like I'm gonna try. I may even be crazy and try to get like 2 retention offers on the Platinums. I don't think I will though, just for the Schwab maybe. But maybe I can get an extra 40k points out of this year for the Schwab Platinum. Reduce that annual fee by a good amount. Then I'll have about 500,000 Amex points by the end of the year. Well, probably more than that by the end of the year, but at least at some point I'll have 500,000 Amex points. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to wait like another 500,000 to hit the million. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Especially people talk about going on honeymoon and stuff like that. Like I'm have to be planning that at some point. So it'd be cool to use all those points for that. And then obviously make it a write off by making a video on it. But um, Biomar says, how long before trying to get a mortgage should you stop getting credit cards? Good. It's a good question. It's so because I think of everything from my perspective first, and since I have like 11 different credit cards, I haven't gotten hit bad on a new credit card in a while. Granted, a lot of them were American Express soft pulls, but even so, like, I just feel like after five, maybe five or more credit cards, that you don't get hit as badly for every subsequent new opening of a new credit card. So in my experience, I'm just like, okay, I've applied for it, didn't get hit. Applied for a new one, didn't get hit. So I would generally recommend like, yeah, probably like 6 months. Yeah, like Sancho says, like 6 months with no hard pulls before applying for a mortgage. Like Doc said earlier, like the most important thing is what's your debt to income ratio, what's your total income, and then that's how much you're qualifying for the house. And of course, your credit score at least be over 700. Like probably like right around 720, you're getting the most advantaged loans you could possibly get. Um, but you could probably get away with sooner. But just to be safe, I'd probably do 6 months. To be honest, just to be safe. Um, and start looking out there and whatnot, for sure. I'm in 524, or Sandra says I'm in 524 jail for a year and a half. I didn't help my cause yesterday by getting the flagship, but honestly, I think the flagship is better for me than Chase cards. Yeah, I mean, you saw my video recently why you should cancel the Chase Sapphire Preferred after the first year, and I still have people attacking me for that in the credit card community. Um, so it's good for the sign up bonuses, but then after that, yeah, probably the flagship, especially if you're somewhat of a decent traveler, you're getting those 3x points, like you mentioned. Probably not a bad card. And I just think it's great to get within all those credit unions so you can start accessing credit union rates for maybe car loans and mortgages and stuff like that. So if you are going to be looking for a house, not bad to, get into a credit union. So at least you have options later on. Like I've been working with a buyer recently, and she's been trying to get a USDA loan, which it's kind of like government backed. It has to be certainly zoned a certain zoned area for it to apply, and it's like an agricultural kind of thing, preserving land, whatnot. But they will let you have um, they'll let you get loans all the way down to like 4.25% right now, which your average conventional loan is like 5.75 on the lowest usually, but like the average is like 6.2 right now. I think it just lowered from 6.7. So, um, yeah, so definitely a lot of benefits for having a credit union because, well, that's the US deal, and then credit unions I've seen offer just a little bit lower, depending on which one it is. Some of them I've called recently have been the exact same as regular um, banks like 5.75, 6% mortgages, but some of them are lower, and especially depends on your relationship with them. So not a bad idea all around, which is why I want to do it too. Um, to give you a good idea, for 15,000, Wandering Doc says about the business class, first class or whatever, business class ticket. He was talking about a one-way Japan Airlines first class flight from Tokyo to New York. He used just 70,000 Alaska points plus $52 in cash. Huh. 70,000 Alaska points. So what's the ratio there? Is that 20 cents per point? 20 cents per, so yeah, if it was 1 cent per point, it's $700. 2 cents is $1,500. So 20 cents per point is $15,000. So wow. So you got a 20 cent per point redemption there for a first class flight with Alaska, the Alaska credit card. That's pretty good. Um, Sandra says Sapphire is great if you like Southwest, Hyatt, United, but I think otherwise overrated. Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, 100% get the sign up bonuses, and if you like any of those ones, just transfer it out. You know, just transfer it out. Go to Hyatt, And then you can pretty much just get rid of the card. 4 years later, do it again. Get another sign-up bonus because of the Chase 148 rule. So you can, as long as you hit the sign-up bonus today, maybe I got my 100,000 points today, that resets the clock. And then 4 years from then, 48 months, you're eligible for a new Chase Sapphire sign-up bonus. So get the sign-up bonus for a year, cancel, wait 4 years, get another one. So every 4 years, you're making hopefully 100K points. So that would be, you just think about it, 25K points a year, you know, $1,200 in Hyatt hotel stays every year if you factor it in that way, you know, in a perfect world, of course. Yeah, Wandering Doc says lenders look at your credit worthiness. That means have your bills paid, have paid your bills on time, your personal income and debt to income across your assets. Yeah, I mean that's the golden ratio, debt to income and your total income. And Doc, what about in your experience with assets? Like, I know pledged asset loans, like if you have a stock portfolio or maybe like a Roth or something like that. Have you seen a sway for lenders? Like maybe your income's not that high, but maybe you have a lot of assets. Maybe 100K in assets, but you have income of 30K, 40K. Like, is there ever a situation where you can kind of I don't think so. I haven't seen it, but in your experience, have you seen lenders kind of lend to that? Okay, let's look at his assets. Income's not there, but whatever. But I think mostly it's like, okay, if you're making 3,000 a month, you can't get a house that's 2,000 a month. It's just not going to work. 66% debt to income ratio, not going to work. Yeah. And Wandering Doc says your credit score. Oh no, I got 12 cards total personal and businesses in the last 13 months. I'm talking to lenders now and they treat me even better now because my income is higher. Yeah. So Doc, from personal experience, is kind of what I'm kind of thinking of. Like, no, it doesn't matter necessarily if you're applying for a lot of cards. I just think if you go from like one card to two cards, you're gonna have a more drastic hit to your credit score than if you going from 8 cards to 20 cards, something like that. I think if you're just like doubling your thing, then you'll probably take a worse hit. And maybe it pushes you in the 600s, for your for if you're getting a loan on a mortgage, something like that. But hey, I mean, if you got a few of them, you're probably good. Wandering Doc also says there's an old saying among real estate investors that if your credit score is above 780, then you're not doing enough deals. Yeah, that makes sense. You just don't have enough. Yeah, you're not taking on enough debt, not enough deals to get hard pulls or hurt your score. That's funny. Yeah, your debt's just not high enough. You need more. You need more houses, and you're not doing it right. And you also say, like you said, Anthony, the ink cards are only good for bonuses. I don't see any decent Chase cards apart from the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Hyatt card. Yeah, that Hyatt card I've been looking at ever since I've been in the world of Hyatt. Literally, I've been looking at the world of Hyatt card. So you get, but it's just that sign-up bonus is pretty high. What is it, 30,000 Hyatt points after 6,000 spend? On paper, it looks horrible, but like we talked about, if you're factoring in the 5 cents per point, like the Raleigh Hotel, 30,000 points could be $1,500. So you spend 6K to get 1,500 back. Not as horrible as it seems, if you can get that value, of course. And then the reserve is good. We talked about the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I think actually Sandra was talking about how it was overpowered. How it was like $300 travel credits, so down to $250 a year, plus the DoorDash credits. If you use GoPuff, something like that, and then all the insurances and stuff on the back end, you can make your money back. But I just look at it as, yeah, let me just get the sign up bonus and let me transfer and let me be out. I think that's probably a good thing. Wandering Doc, to my question about assets and loans, he says the problem with lenders and assets is as soon as you send them any new bank statement they're going to ask you where that money came from, which opens up a can of worms of sending more stuff. They will see your rental properties on your tax returns, and usually I just send them a checking account and a savings account with like 50K or 6 months reserves for all your properties. That's a good point. So that's good advice. So you're saying, okay, fine, get the 740 credit score. Rule number 1 is never say more than necessary. My personal rule is never send a lender more documents than necessary. I guess. Yeah, I guess if you give a lender more, then you know, there's more to look into. Yeah, you're opening up a a can of worms. Well, why'd you get this money? Well, what about this? Huh? Do you plan on selling it? You know, maybe something like that. But I guess that's a good framework to think about. I guess if you want to be super conservative, you don't have a lot of cards and you don't have a high credit score, okay, maybe wait some time before. Don't get a credit card in a span of time before getting a home loan. But if you're at a high enough credit score and you have a bunch of cards, whatever, it's not going to make a big difference. Have your debt to income ratio at least, like they say, general rules, like 33%, you know, something like that. So if it's $3,000 a month for the mortgage, you should, I mean, yeah, sorry, if it's $1,000 every single month for the mortgage, you should be making at least $3,000. It's like the general rule. But you can get away with some more. But if you want to be safe, um, you know, don't give more than necessary. So Wandering Dog likes to give in checking account savings of like 50K, and then you're, you know, just like 6 months reserve. So this way, if you're buying a rental property and it's like, well, what happens if it doesn't get rented? Well, now I have a year's worth of reserves on rent, that this house will be paid for, so we're not going to be in default. Good things to follow. Good points. And Sandra said, nope, I actually agreed with you that the Sapphire is overrated. Smiley face. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. I forget who that was, but yeah, unfortunately. But now, you know, I get people attacking me. I've like, you guys know CJ. CJ's credit cards. He's like, man, this is a problem. You can't be saying that Chase is that bad of a card, and he might make a response video like attacking me. And Spencer Johnson, we know him. You know, he loves his Chase credit cards. So he's like, ah, he says, I have a lot to say here. So I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna go full bore, and I'm gonna become a full Amex shill. All right, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna go hard and just prove to everyone that Amex is not only the premium cards, but it actually might actually be the only card you need for life. Start to finish. Granted, the ones without annual fees, but we'll see. I know I'm allowed to have an opinion, right? That's right. I'm allowed to attack whatever I want to attack. All right, and I believed it. Okay, I'm not just making no clickbait videos. All right, I literally will downgrade that card pretty soon because I'm not paying that annual fee. Um, that's funny. That's so funny. What time are we at? Where's the second phone? Oh, what do we got? Oh, 122, not bad. I'm Team Amex. Party for superior customer service. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just the best customer service. I mean, where else can I get retention? Like I had made a video on it, but friggin' retention offers, ultimate customer service. Do I have a dispute? Okay, no questions asked. You're a valued customer. Here's your money back. You know, a dedicated retention offer department. Oh, you don't want to be with us anymore? Here's a little extra to just stay. Chase, they just spit in your face and they say go home. You know, come on now. We're not dealing with that. Wandering Doc says, I'll hit you up. I'm curious about lenders that give a USDA loan. Well, I don't really recommend putting less than 5% down on real estate unless you know what you're doing. Yeah, so, um, yeah, we could talk. We could definitely talk. I found a few out here upon this recent experience with this lady who wants to do some USDA. But yeah, I mean, the main benefits are 0% down, no PMI, um, and favorable rates. I think the lowest right now is like 4.2 or 4.15% mortgages. But the only problem is it has to be zoned for that particular area, and they're pretty stringent with their, like the lenders I've seen are obviously they're super stringent with the property. Like they can't have any real issues that make it somewhat unlivable. You know, like just a slight bit of water damage might actually skew it in their issue. Um, you know, but might actually skew them being able to give you a loan on the house or not. So it's pretty stringent, but once you get in, seems pretty good. Seems not bad. And I think there might be a limit on how long. I don't know if you can buy it. That's a good point. I don't know if you can buy a USDA loan house and rent it out. I feel like it's something like an FHA where you have to live in it for a full year first before you rent it out. But I mean, you're looking to maybe settle down somewhere over here. So we'll have to see. We'll talk. I'll research it and then we can figure it out. We'll get you something good though. But I found a few houses that are already zoned, so we can look at those if you want. And we'll see. Even if you say CapEx is 5% of rental income, for every $1,000 of rental income, that's $50 per month, so 600 per year. So that's how much reserves you need per unit. It's not that much. Yeah, very, very little. Yeah, honestly, very little. But then again, if it's a rental unit, you're taking depreciation. You're taking business write-offs on all of the, the fixes and stuff like that. You're doing a lot of good stuff there, um, to save money. Sandra says Navy Federal customer service rivals Amex's. Yeah, really? Well, it's funny because isn't that flagship card, that is an American Express card, right? That is also American Express. So what's the deal with that? So if the Navy Federal flagship is an American Express card, you don't get their customer service. Do you only get Navy Federal customer service, or can you get through to Amex? I wonder, because I know the points you earn are not. Oh, it's Visa. So wait, which one is the? Is it the more rewards? There's one Navy Federal Amex card. Is it like more? I think it might be more rewards. I forget, but I wonder. Yeah, more rewards is Amex. Right, right, right. So I'm wondering, like, can you get through to their customer service? It's interesting. Hmm. It's huge though. Doc's interested now. I'm selling you on the USDA. Dude, let's definitely talk. No PMI and interest rates that low. Do you have some areas in Greenville where you can get a USDA loan? I could think of a great burst strat that. Oh yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, 100% a great burst strat right there. If people aren't familiar, the burst strat: buy, rent, renovate, refinance, repeat. So, taking a property, you take it a piece of ish, you fixing it up, you're refinancing to get your cash out, you're renting it out, so this way you can put it into the next deal. Um, but yeah, the no PMI is huge. So you can put as low as, I think they were looking to do 5%. I think that's like maybe standard for USDA. I feel like you can go lower. What am I saying? 0% down. Right, right, right. But I think they wanted to do 5%. But yeah, zero down, no PMI. That's freaking great. It's basically the same as VA. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you can live it in 2 months and move out. They don't check as long as you're making the payments. Oh, yeah. You just have the intent of living there, right? The whole 6 months, 1 year is kind of a myth. I've tested this myself. Good to know. That's good to know. So typically with these loans like VA, I guess USDA, FHA, they say, well, you have to live in the property for a full year before you can rent it out legally, to someone else. Like I could move out, go somewhere else and rent it out. But Wandering Doc is saying, well, I guess not financial advice, right? Let's just be safe. But, as long as you have the intent to live there, and maybe you do. Maybe I want to live in Greenfield for 6 months. Something changes. I don't know. I want to be closer to my family. Who knows? Anything. I don't like this area. I feel like I'm unsafe. I'm just gonna rent it out. Then you could technically, you know, rent it out, possibly refinance it for a lower interest rate in another year or so. Take that cash, throw it into a new property, and you're scot free. you know. Um, so that's interesting. And you save a lot of money for sure. That's good to know. That's great. I'm glad to learn that. Hmm. Oh, and Sandra says Navy Federal Credit Union customer service. You still get the Navy Federal customer service with the More Rewards card. So it's not really a part of the Amex thing, huh? Interesting. And he said part of the reason I never bit the bullet and got the city double. You- That's good. Okay, I didn't. That I feel like that's that's like a YouTube video right there. That right there, the YouTube video name. Why I canceled the city double trash in all capital letters. The city. That's funny. The city double trash. That is so funny. I feel like making a video on it, even though I know nothing about the card really. Just the 80K sign up offer. Just for that. Just because of that line, the city double trash. Yeah, look, the customer service is horrible. Sandra says, honestly, I've been toying with the idea of creating content. Oh, that's right. That reminds me. Wandering Doc and Sandra, you both want to start creating content. So Sandra, yeah, I mean, if you want to make credit card content, man, there's no better time than today. You know, it's like planting a tree, right? Like 20 years ago or today. You know, so and Wandering Doc was wondering like, oh, he wants to do real estate videos because obviously he's super knowledgeable, you know, more than I. Um, you know, he wants to start making videos, but he's like, well, it's super saturated YouTube on, you know, real estate, and everybody's got an opinion about the market. But I mean, look at where I am right now. You guys are watching, we're hanging out, we're having a good time. We were talking about credit cards, now real estate. I mean, I started the channel what, 8 months ago, talking about credit cards, and there was a ton of people talking about credit cards then. But you know, hopefully, I have some sort of a different perspective, and I'm maybe coming into my own a little bit now. I'm trying to add little unique things here and there. Um, but yeah, it doesn't matter. No such thing as oversaturation, especially since YouTube is just growing, like every single year, growing in user base. You'll have you'll have people watching, you know. So make your real estate videos starting today. We'll shout you out and make your if saying true. If you're looking to make credit card content, then yeah, credit card community is super welcoming. I mean, you've seen the collab videos we've done with like CJ and Stan the Credit Frog and Calby and Eric Gow and um, Joshua Butler and you know Matt Welter and Spencer Johnson, all those guys. You know, we all met each other months and months ago. You know, and even some of the bigger guys we talked to, like Daniel Braun. Um, I don't know, a few of those guys, Luke's Point Miles. You know, it's like a tight community. So if you get in it, we'll welcome you with open arms. And Sledge, who's new to the community too, which I bullied him into making a channel. You know, he made his channel a couple months ago. He's doing well. Now he's got like 250 subs. So go for it. Not to be super inspirational, but yeah, it's great. And plus, it's like, you know, me personally, I'm trying to like add a lot of unique things in the future. Like I want to add, I don't know, live credit card calls. I want to go up to people on the street talking about credit card content. I don't know, some challenge. I don't know, just some things to bring new audiences in because it's still a very niche thing. Um, so we'll see. So if you have new, interesting points of view and new ideas, bring it in. You know, we could all learn from each other. Wandering Doc says, yeah, I mean the VA and USDA don't have inspectors knocking at your door after 3 months to make sure that the primary loan holder is still living there. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But they always warn you that it's possible. I wonder. I'm willing to bet that if it's in New York, I mean, you're not getting a USDA loan anywhere in like the 5 boroughs in New York, but like VA loan, I'm willing to bet somebody will come by, or California. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Out here in South Carolina, you know, we don't. It seems like nobody cares about anything. Matter of fact, there's like a grandfather clause in South Carolina. Like if you have an additional dwelling unit in your backyard, like and it's not permitted, it's not zoned, like it's nothing. Like you just put that there and people are renting it out. If it was built prior to a certain date, it could technically be grandfathered into this to the state. Like they could say, okay, you want to register it now? I don't care about everything in the past. Okay, this is just you're good. It's been here for 70 years. Okay, that's just your additional dwelling unit. You can rent that out. Cool. Like some areas could be super lax depending on the county, but yeah, it's super interesting. Um, which is why I'm excited. If we go and find some houses, Doc, we'll find some crazy deals. Um, maybe we'll have to do an interview too. How I turned 1.25 million credit card points into a home loan or into a down payment. That'd be cool. Mm, that's funny. Let me see what time I got. I think I gotta go. All right, so we've been going for an hour and a half. Um, so this was fun as always. I think I'm gonna keep doing this. Although, like I said, next time it might be iPad. I want to get the normal setup. I don't want vertical screen. I want horizontal, so I could possibly post it as a new YouTube video. But we'll see. But thank you guys for being here. Ton of fun, and let me know if there's any way I can improve in myself, my talking, maybe the ability to pull stuff up on the screen, anything. Give me suggestions, whatever. But thank you guys so much for being here, and good content. I learned a lot, and I guess I'll see you next week, next Saturday, same time, 12 o'clock. And now watch me as I try to turn this off by turning the camera around. That's the setup, by the way, and that looks dirty. I gotta clean that up. All right. See you guys next time.